a heartbreaking tale of Tony and old dogs fight for survival. Tony wasn't always alone. 12 years ago, in 2013, he was a sprightly black Labrador puppy, born in a litter on a farm just outside Chillicothe, Ohio. His early days were filled with joy chasing fireflies across fields of corn, tumbling with his siblings under the warm Midwest sun, and napping in a barn that smelled of hay and leather. A young couple, Mark and Emily, adopted him after spotting a handwritten "Puppies for Sale" sign on a country road. They brought him to their modest home in a quiet neighborhood where American flags waved on porches and kids rode bikes down gravel lanes. Tony became their shadow, his tail wagging like a metronome as he followed Mark to the garage, or curled up at Emily's feet during movie nights. Life was good for Tony. Mornings meant breakfast scraps, bits of bacon, or toast from the kitchen table. Days were spent fetching tennis balls in the backyard, his black fur gleaming as he raced across the grass. The couple loved him fiercely. They'd dress him in a tiny Santa hat for Christmas photos, take him on drives to Lake White for summer swims, and let him sleep at the foot of their bed. In small-town America, pets like Tony are family, woven into the fabric of daily life barbecues, 4th of July parades, and lazy Sundays. But as the years rolled on, life changed in ways Tony couldn't understand. By 2023, Tony was 10, his muzzle gray, his steps slower from arthritis. Mark and Emily's marriage began to fray. Arguments over money echoed through the house, louder and more frequent. Mark's construction business tanked during a local economic slump, and Emily's hours at the hospital were cut. The stress was palpable. Tony would sense it, whining softly and nudging their hands, trying to bring comfort. One chilly autumn evening, Tony watched from the window as Mark loaded a suitcase into his truck and drove away. Emily stayed, but her eyes were distant, her hugs less frequent. Tony's world grew quieter, the house colder. Then came the day that broke his heart. In early 2024, Emily packed boxes, her movements frantic. The house was being foreclosed, too many missed payments. Tony, confused, followed her from room to room, his nails clicking on the hardwood. She knelt beside him, tears streaming, and whispered, "I'm sorry, boy. I can't take you." The apartment she was moving to in Columbus had a strict no-pet policy. With no family to take him and no time to find a shelter, Emily made a choice that haunts many pet owners in America. She left Tony behind in the house, hoping someone would find him. She left a bowl of water and a bag of kibble, but no note, no plan. The door shut, and Tony was alone. For the first day, Tony waited by the door, his ears perked for Emily's car. The kibble ran out quickly. His aging stomach couldn't handle much anyway. By day 2, hunger gnawed at him, a deep, aching pain that made him tremble. The house, once warm with love, now felt like a prison. The water bowl tipped over, leaving him parched. Tony's arthritis flared, each step a struggle as he paced the living room, his whimpers echoing off peeling wallpaper. According to the ASPCA, nearly 1 million pets are abandoned in the US each year, often in situations like Tony's, left in homes or on streets when owners face hardship. For an old dog, the odds of survival are slim. On the third day, desperation drove Tony outside. A loose board in the back door let him slip into the yard. The Ohio winter was brutal. Sleet stung his fur, and his paws ached on the frozen ground. He wandered to the neighbor's house, a small ranch-style home where he'd once gotten treats as a puppy. Hope flickered in his chest as he scratched at their door, his weak barks barely audible. But the new neighbors, stressed and unfamiliar with Tony, saw only a mangy stray. Instead of food or kindness, one of them grabbed a pot of boiling water from the stove and splashed it toward him, shouting, "Get out of here." The scalding liquid hit Tony's side, searing his skin. He yelped, stumbling back, the pain overwhelming. He limped to a ditch across the street, curling up under a bush, shivering and alone. Tony's story could have ended there, another silent tragedy in America's heartland. But sometimes, hope arrives in unexpected forms. A mail carrier named Javier, delivering letters along the rural route, noticed Tony in the ditch. Javier, a father of two who'd grown up with dogs in Toledo, couldn't ignore the sight. He knelt beside Tony, speaking softly in Spanish, "Tranquilo, pequeño." Tony's tail gave a faint wag, his eyes clouded with pain, but trusting. Javier wrapped him in a blanket from his truck and drove him to the Ross County Humane Society, a small shelter 10 miles away. At the shelter, Tony's condition shocked the staff. His fur was matted, his skin blistered from the burns, and he was severely dehydrated. Volunteers worked gently, cleaning his wounds with care to avoid distress. They estimated his age at 12, old for a Labrador, but his spirit was unbroken. He licked the hand of a vet tech named Lisa, who fed him small bits of wet food to ease his hunger. Shelters like Ross County are stretched thin, relying on donations and volunteers, but they're lifelines. Lisa posted Tony's photo on the shelter's Facebook page, captioning it, "This senior boy needs a miracle." The post spread across Ohio, shared by locals who knew the pain of abandoned pets. Enter Rachel, a 35-year-old nurse from Athens, Ohio. She'd lost her own dog, a beagle named Daisy, to cancer the year before. Scrolling through social media one evening, Rachel saw Tony's photo, his sad eyes mirroring her own grief. She drove to the shelter the next day, her heart racing. When she met Tony, he limped toward her, resting his head against her leg. It was a quiet moment, but it sealed their bond. Rachel adopted him, promising to give him the love he'd been denied. Rachel's home in Athens was a haven, a small craftsman house with a fenced yard. It sat near the Hocking River, where willows swayed. She set up a soft bed for Tony by the fireplace, knowing his arthritis needed warmth. Mornings were slow. Rachel would mash boiled chicken into his food, helping him eat despite his worn teeth. She took him to a vet at Ohio State University's Veterinary Medical Center, where they treated his burns with medicated ointments and prescribed joint supplements. The burns healed, though faint scars remained, a reminder of his ordeal. Tony's days became a gentle rhythm. Walks along the Athens Community Center trails, where he'd sniff wildflowers or watch kids play soccer. Rachel's neighbors, part of a tight-knit community, brought treats, homemade dog biscuits or bits of steak. Tony's tail wagged more, though slower than in his youth. Rachel noticed his quirks. He'd dream bark in his sleep, paws twitching as if chasing rabbits from his farm days. She'd sit with him during thunderstorms, stroking his head as he trembled, whispering, "You're safe now." But Tony's age brought challenges. His vision faded, and cataracts clouded his eyes. Rachel installed ramps to help him climb the porch steps. Vet bills piled up, blood work, dental cleanings, pain meds, but Rachel budgeted carefully, cutting back on her own expenses. She applied for aid from Red Rover, a national pet relief organization, which covered part of Tony's eye exam. In America, pet care costs can be staggering. The American Pet Products Association notes households spend over $100 billion annually on pets. Yet many struggle to afford emergencies. Rachel's love kept her going, even when funds were tight. One spring day in 2025, Tony's health took a turn. He stopped eating, his breathing labored. Rachel rushed him to the vet, fearing the worst. Tests revealed heart failure, common in senior labs. The vet was honest. Tony had months, maybe less. Rachel sobbed, but vowed to make his time special. She cooked him hamburger patties, took him on short car rides with the windows down, and let him nap in the sun. She started a blog, Tony's Last Days, sharing his story to raise awareness about senior pet adoption. Readers from across the U.S., California, Maine, Texas, sent messages. "Tony's a fighter," or "You're giving him the life he deserves." Tony's final moment came on a warm June evening. Rachel sat with him in the yard, fireflies flickering. He rested his head in her lap, his breaths slow but calm. As the sun set, he slipped away, surrounded by love. Rachel buried him under a willow, placing a stone with Tony, forever loved, carved on it. Tony's story isn't just his, it's the story of countless senior pets in America. From the crowded shelters of Lowe's Angels to the rural rescues of Montana, old dogs and cats face abandonment when they need love most. The Humane Society reports that senior pets are less likely to be adopted, often overlooked for puppies. Yet they offer wisdom, loyalty, and gratitude that's unmatched. Tony's journey from a joyful puppy to a discarded senior to a beloved companion shows the power of second chances. In the U.S., we have the tools to change this. No-kill shelters like those supported by Best Friends Animal Society, trap-neuter return programs in cities like Chicago, and foster networks in places like Raleigh Save Lives Daily. Laws like Ohio's House Bill 33, increasing funding for shelters, make a difference. But it starts with us, adopting seniors, volunteering, donating to groups like the Gray Muzzle Organization, which supports elderly pets. Tony's legacy lives on. Rachel now fosters senior dogs inspired by him. His blog raised funds for her local shelter, helping others like him. Every kind act, feeding a stray, microchipping your pet, or simply offering a pat, creates ripples. In America, where 67% of households have pets, we can make every animal's story end in love. If Tony's story moved you, take a moment to honor him. Adopt a senior pet, volunteer at your local shelter, or spread awareness. Together, we can ensure no dog or cat is left behind because of age. Hit that like button if Tony touched your heart. Share your pet's story in the comments, and subscribe for more tales of hope and resilience. Thank you for watching. Let's make America a place where every pet, young or old, finds a home.